All right.
Perfect.
Hopefully the trailer that's running back here at Starbucks will.
You sound fine.
What's up, online nutrition coach community? It's day 2 of the audience building and lead generation speaker series. And listen, I know so many of you coaches love to use Instagram. I mean, like, you're into stories and you're into reels and you love using hashtags and you do believe that your soulmate clients are on there because Instagram's fun. However, you're not really building your audience. And if you are, no one's really inquiring about leads. So the expert that I have joining with us today is truly the one that you want to follow. Not only does she have a huge following on the Instagram platform, she's actually monetizing it. Guys, with inbound leads. All right, inbound leads. How many of you just want to drool over that fact, right? Like that you have clients just asking, how can I work with you, right? That's what this speaker has created. So I'm super excited to just introduce her right now and stay very active in the chat so that you can soak up all of her brilliance. Sabah Ali, thank you so much for joining me.
Yes, thank you so much for that introduction. I'm so excited to be here. Honestly, like I love Instagram. I've been on that app for years now. Definitely have built a massive following on there. And I'm really excited to just dive deep into like Instagram, how it works and how it's also like changed. I literally just went on, it was yesterday, I did a story or I did a live on my Instagram and I talked about how Instagram is so different than what it was even like a year ago. So I'm really excited to dive into like what's working, what's not, what all of you should be doing on this app literally like today.
Oh my God, let's just do it. Let's dive right in. Like, what are the most important pieces? How do we get started from like actually building our audience and then turning them into leads?
Yeah. So I look at Instagram very differently than any other social media platform. And what I want to start off by saying is I feel like the reason why Instagram is one of those platforms where it is like, I think it's honestly super simple to build a following versus like something like Facebook or Twitter is because it's very intimate. Like there's not much going on Instagram. On Facebook, you have Facebook ads, there's Facebook groups. Like there's a lot going on, which is great for Facebook, but for Instagram, when you get on that app and when someone clicks on your profile, it's all about you, right? Like there isn't anything else going on. And for me, I basically, I laugh because sometimes when I say this, people are like, what is she talking about? But I treat Instagram like my own reality TV show.
I love that. It's so good.
My entire perception around Instagram is I am not sharing tips and advice and strategy, and I'm not trying to sell anyone anything. What I am doing is I am sharing lessons, experiences, stories, differences about me. And through my stories, I'm sharing lessons. And from there, I attract people who resonate with my stories, with my advice, with my philosophies. And that is how I'm attracting inbound clients. Like something people always ask me is, how do you attract clients? Like, how do you do it versus either chasing or having to hold like a training or a masterclass and then sell on the back end in order to get leads, in order to get clients? It's through this methodology. It's like something that I always love to compare it to is like big brands, luxury brands like Cartier, Louis Vuitton, Gucci, like they're not going out there and knocking on your door, even sending flyers about the products that they're selling. You know they are a brand, and you also know when you walk into the store, there's a specific feeling that you feel when you walk in. Same thing with your Instagram. When someone lands on your account, on your post, on your profile, on your story, whatever it is that you're posting on there, how do you actually make them feel? So a question that you should ask yourself is whether you're on Instagram or not. I'd love to know in the comments. I might pull it up on my phone too, so I can see comments coming in, but let me know, like, do you have a certain feeling going on Instagram right now? Because that's really important based on all the type of people that you're attracting on there.
That's so good because I feel like we jump on this platform, right? And we feel like, oh my God, okay, like I just have to use all of the things. So I'm going to create a reel and I'm going to do a story and then I'm going to do a carousel. And like, we just get lost. We get lost trying to use it all.
Yeah, we do. And to go like kind of give like a breakdown, can I actually share my screen? Because I want to pull up
Totally.
my
Go for it.
Instagram. Let me pull it up because it'll be easier for me to just show like all of the different areas. So this is my Instagram, and I want to first start off by like sharing like what you should have in your bio, because that is important. And then I'll get into like content, how to use it, what you should be posting. So first of all, if your username is not your name, change it to your name, because you're building a brand first versus selling a product. So people buy from personal brands. They don't necessarily buy like just products anymore. So even if you're building a business brand, I highly recommend incorporating you into it. Even if like you don't want to, that's how people buy, because it's through stories. Now, when you look and go to someone's bio, immediately you want to put something in there that tells them what you do and how you could help them. Now, for me, when I look at my bio, look at it as like 3 lines. As you can see, like I have like what, 1, 2, 3, 4. I have 4 lines, but I look at it as 3 lines. The first line, I believe it should say something about your vision, about what you're creating, not how you can help somebody. And the reason why is because there are thousands of people on Instagram doing exactly what you're doing. You can search business coach on there. You can search how to get clients. You can search grow your social media. Thousands of accounts will come up, but nobody's creating unforgettable empires. So you want to like, that evokes a feeling when people come out, they feel like, oh, like I want to be unforgettable. I'm building my empire. It sparks a feeling. So think of something based on your brand, your vision. What are you creating? And it doesn't have to be like a whole sentence. It can be like 2 or 3 words. After that, you do want to put in what you do and how you help people. So obviously you can see here what I say is build a multi-67 figure business through energetic attraction, social media, and simple sales. So for you, it might be learn how to write off all of your expenses and save like, 75% on taxes, like whatever it is that you do, write exactly what you do, how you can help people. And then I love to add in something that builds a little bit of authority. So if you're just starting, you might not have something like, featured on like Forbes or NBC or like 1,000 clients I've helped, but you have done something. So usually like, I want to say 75 to 80% of the time, you are your own walking testimonial. You have gotten into the business that you're in right now because you personally went through a transformation. So whether that's your own result, a client result, places that you've been featured, add that in there, because it just adds that little extra like, oh, like he did this, she did this. That's cute. Like that's enticing. Let me like dive a little bit deeper into what he or she does. And then, of course, the last line, that is basically the link to whatever that you're linking out, a call to action. I have a membership that's basically like my go-to place now. So that's like what I have linked on my bio. So pretty clear. That's what you want to change in your bio if you don't have that already.
That's
And
so
then,
good. So
yeah.
helpful. I love the idea of including your vision in your bio. I think that's so smart, and that like point of differentiation.
Yeah. Cause it's like, yeah, I mean, there are so many people on Instagram, which is amazing because we get to meet and connect with so many amazing people. But the vision, your story, what you're really about is what distinguishes you from everybody else, once again, who's doing the exact same thing as you are. Now, when you look at the feed, there are a lot of different ways and different types to create content. I'm going to talk about the top 2 ways that you should be creating content on Instagram today, because this is what's getting you the most amount of reach. So the first thing that I'm going to talk about is actually Reels. Because everybody's always asking like, should I create Reels? Should I not? What should I do? Now, before I get into it, what used to work in like 2020, even like 2021 was hashtags. You put hashtags on your post, you get reach. That doesn't work anymore. Like you can still use hashtags. I still use hashtags because it helps like this much, but Reels, it helps this much. Reels is still like a very new feature on Instagram. So they are basically rewarding people who are using it. So I say like, if you want to get reach, if you want to grow an audience, use reels. Even if it's still images, you can basically just use like a quote and turn it into a reel, have like a moving background, add music, and post it on there. Because I have seen people who even have only 100 followers, 200, 1,000 followers go quote unquote viral and get a lot of reach on there. So reels is what I recommend. You can see like I create a lot of different type of reels. I do interviews, I do things that are just like text. And then I also do some, I mean, if you are creating like TikToks, if you're on TikTok or like even just on Facebook and you have short form video, repurpose it. The other day I repurposed one of my TikToks on Instagram and it got close to 20,000 views. And honestly, like I didn't have to do much work because I just like took the same video and reposted it. So reels is what I recommend doing. If you're asking yourself, what video should I be creating? Basically the same type of content that you would be creating on your feed, but just talk to the camera or use text. Okay. And you guys can look at my Instagram later on if you wanted to just get some inspiration on what to create. And then the second type of posts that you should be creating on your feed are carousels. Still images with long captions, they work, but not as well as carousels anymore. And the reason why, honestly, like I don't have a clear answer, but I think it's because people like to swipe. Like they like to swipe this way. Carousels, you swipe this way. So it's like the same motion, the same action, but it's just easier for people to read. So for this one, I made a post like 2 days ago. It's been one of my top performing like still image posts. It is a carousel over the course of the last like few weeks. And as you can see, like in big text, I have ways I self-sabotage myself from making more money. When you are creating images on Instagram, you want to make sure it's like humongous text. Once again, people like their attention spans are like this. So if it's like teeny text, they can't read it. And then of course, if you swipe, it basically just, I write out all of the thoughts and the beliefs that I had back then versus now. And then I still I'm the type of person where I still write a lot because I'm a writer. Because sometimes the carousels, they don't give you enough space to fully give the context behind what you're saying. So this is where you can always add still like a caption. But I don't always do it like in this one over here. I think it was maybe this one. Yeah, this one over here, people liked a lot. And all I said was save to blow up your next post. So same thing, if you swipe, you're basically putting like the long caption in carousel form. So I use Canva to do this. Really simple, really easy, but I am prioritizing carousels a lot because I see people saving that a lot more than I do just like still images. So if you're on Instagram, of course, you're getting on there, you want to grow, you want people to really connect with you. Those are like the top 2 type of feed posts that I recommend posting right now.
So good. And I love this too, because carousels are definitely unique to Instagram, right? Like they don't come over to Facebook, not well at all. They're like in weird little blocks.
Yeah, no. So I do repurpose a lot of my content. So what I'll basically do, once again, it's like, I'll take what I have in my carousel, then I'll create like a long form post on Facebook and put an image, like a still image, and that works like wonders. So yeah, like Instagram and Facebook, like the context and the copy for me personally, it works the same, but the delivery and like the style of how you present it is definitely different.
Yeah. So I love that you shared like the 2 things that you would focus on, because I think that that's really actionable. So do you feel like it's important to use all of the things that Instagram, like all of the features, in order to actually like win the algorithm?
Yeah, that's a great question. When I look at social media in general, not just Instagram, I look at it in basically like 3 buckets. So like the first bucket is like you're doing things to grow. Second one is you're doing things to nurture. Third one is you're doing things to convert. So depending on what your goal is, I mean, of course, as a business owner, all 3 of those things are always your goals, but sometimes there's certain seasons in your business where you're focused on one over the other. So right now, if your like main focus is I need to grow, like I need visibility, I need people on there, focus on reels because that will get you the most visibility. If you're in a season where you're like, no, I need to nurture a little bit more, carousels, because that's where you're basically educating your audience who are already following you. Like carousels and just still images on your feed, yes, they can get a lot of reach, but that mainly happens through if people share your post like on their profile. Once again, like the way the algorithm works, hashtags, they kind of help, not that much. But yeah, like if you want to nurture your audience, warm them up, do the still images. And then the last piece that I didn't necessarily talk about yet is when you're converting your audience. I love to do this on my stories. And the reason why is because people that watch your stories, they are your warmest audience. So they are actively watching you, right? They're like, oh, what is she up to? Let me tap and see what's going on. So for me, that is where I share my offers. That is where I share behind the scenes. That is where I share what's going on, like what you can join. And I'm really open about it because for me personally, like I went through a season in my business where I did like the typical have a conversation in the DMs, let's get on a sales call, do the call, sign them on as a client. I don't do any sales calls anymore. It's all through Messenger and it's all through just like openly selling. So if someone comes across my profile, they like one of my content pieces, they tap through my stories and see I'm selling something, they will just jump on it because that like resonance of you, your story, what it is that you're selling, it feels really aligned to them, right? And this also depends, once again, it all just depends on your niche, what you're selling, who you are, your personality, how you want to build your business. But I've found when you are open, when you do present in a way that it feels really inviting for people to join. And it's not like, hey, this is my product, go buy it. Like it's not salesy, but it is open. I see so many people that I've never even seen before reach out through my stories and buy something.
That's amazing. I love that you just talked about that because I think that this goes into a question I wanted to ask you, which is like mistakes that people are making on
Yeah,
Instagram. And it
yeah,
sounds like one of them could be like, hey, here's my thing, buy it, right? Which is kind of cold and it could be reached by multiple people just because of the hashtags they're searching, versus like selling to your warm audience through stories.
yeah. Like like it depends because I mean sometimes like I still will like here and there time to time make like a post on my actual feed that's like, hey, this is my offer, go buy it if you want to. But I have seen a drastic like engagement on that is nowhere near like education value story that I'm posting on my feed, because my philosophy around just business and around attraction when it comes to attracting clients to you is people buy from you because they like you, regardless of if they see a result, a story, something that you did, they buy because they like you. So if you share something on your profile that they resonate with, whether it's once again, a desire that they want, a goal, or even just a philosophy that you share, and they're like, ooh, I like what she said. I want to know how I can be in her world, how I can work with her, they will reach out to you and ask if it's not accessible in like your link or in your stories. And for me personally, just as a consumer, as a client, every single person that I have bought from, it's not through like it wasn't through a masterclass, it wasn't through a webinar, it wasn't through someone cold DMing me. It was because I saw their brand, I saw content, or maybe I did see them featured on like an interview like this or something, and I resonated with them first. And I see that's a big shift that's not just happening on Instagram, but that's happening in the coaching industry, especially this year. Yeah.
Oh my God. So for sure, it's definitely different. Are you finding that you're having a lot of conversations in like the Instagram DMs, or do you move them over to Messenger, or how does that work for you?
Yeah, so I do it just in the Instagram DMs. Of course, if people reach out to me through Facebook, then it's in Messenger. But yeah, I just do it in the DMs. And my process, once again, it's simple. You know, most of the time people just come to me asking questions and then I answer the questions. And then of course, if they want to join, they will. Another thing that I also love to do on there are live videos. So just like what we're doing now, this morning I did a live interview and I interviewed someone on my Instagram. And that's also amazing because when you go live together with somebody, both of your audiences get notified, right? So theirs does, yours does. So it's basically like you guys are cross collaborating and you get exposed to different new audiences. So that's another amazing way that you can grow. Of course, all of you guys are in this group. So like I would recommend connecting with each other, go live together so you guys can grow. Because for me, before I ever even had all of that, all of the followers, the audience on my Instagram, that's what I did for years. Like I literally just did exactly what you're doing here, Kate. I would interview people, I would get interviewed, I would do everything to just be seen and visible. And that also, like Instagram will pick that up. If your profile is like popping, you're posting every day, you're consistent, that's what's going to help you be more visible and seen on there.
With regards to consistency, because I know it's so important, and remember it used to be like, oh, post like 5, 10 times a day. Gary Vee was like, post 18, 20 times a day. What are you seeing? Like, what is your advice for consistency on Instagram?
Yeah, for me, it's been pretty like the same over the course of the last few years. Like I post at least once a day on my feed. On my stories, I usually say have at least 5 stories up at all times. And the reason why is because once again, if someone new finds you, stories are like once again, kind of like the inside look into your life. It's like the reality TV show. Like, what is she doing? Like, let me get to know more than just like a still image on your feed. So usually on like a typical day, I'll probably have around like 5 to 10 stories up. And that also just comes from like practice. My stories are not curated. It's literally just behind the scenes of what I'm doing and openly talking about my offers. But on your feed, like you don't have, like, I don't think you have to post once a day or more than once a day. Sometimes I'll post twice a day. If it's like in the morning, I'll post like a carousel, and then in the afternoon, I'll do a reel. But like I'm not posting like 3, 5, 10 times a day. I feel like personally for me, that's overkill. And you don't need to, like, quality content still matters. So if your main goal is once again growth, I would focus on do quality reels every day and do collaborations with other people.
So good. Okay, I know that this question has come up several times in the community before, but personal Instagram or business Instagram, like what does it matter? What should we do?
Yes, I love this question. Personal Instagram, just go like personal. Once again, like I'm assuming like everybody in this group is mainly coaches. So you are, yeah. So like you are the front facing brand of your business. Do a personal one. And once again, the reason why is because you ask yourself, if you're on social media and you're actively trying to find someone to work with, will you respond better to a business account or a personal account?
Yeah.
Usually a personal account, right? And for me also, like I've seen business accounts, like they just don't grow as fast as personal, because once again, like social media, it started for creators. It started for like once again, like personal. You share your own things on Facebook, on Instagram. And then of course, as social media evolved, then businesses started to come in, advertisements, all of those things. So for me, when I just think about it in terms of like, I love psychology, I geek out about it because marketing, sales, it's all about psychology. When someone sees something they want, they will much more resonate and buy from like a face versus a business. And when I think about a business, I don't know, for me, I think about just like a building, right? Like if your Instagram has no like faces to it and it's just like text, then there isn't trust built. Like right now, you guys can see me. I'm like open. If I didn't have my camera on, you probably would not have been able to connect with me as much as you are right now. Same thing once again on Instagram. It's like social media, it's amazing because we can literally connect with everybody around the world. But at the same time, you want to have that human touch, that in-person experience that, you know, of course, is impossible on social media, but you can curate that through your personal brand.
Totally. So on to that, like I know that if we have a personal account versus a business account, we can't like track analytics. Does that matter?
So, okay. So in terms of the actual account, you can track it still. So for me, there's actually, I need to check now because Instagram keeps changing. I think there's actually 3 types of accounts. There's personal, creator, and then business account. I need to check what I am because I honestly don't even remember. I want to say, so mine's a personal, account and you can still track your analytics. And I think that's changed now because I know previously you couldn't do it. You can now. So it's honestly like you have the same features. And honestly, I have heard if you have a professional and business account, it actually blocks your reach sometimes because
Oh, damn.
because Instagram knows you're a business, you're trying to get clients, and they would much rather have you run ads versus doing it organically. So that is also an incentive to do a personal account.
Should we look at analytics at all?
Oh, this is a good question. Yes, yes, and no. Yes, because it tells you what's working with your content. I don't look at my analytics like every day, probably at like once a week at like, the end of the week on Friday, Saturday. Because throughout the week, like I just post and I don't really check on like what's happening that much. Like I'm not looking at my likes, I'm not looking at my comments. Of course, I'm responding to people, but it gives you insight on what type of content is working in terms of headline, visual, context, story, whatever that you're doing on there. And then also you can see patterns, which is interesting. So I have noticed when I start to go like live more on Instagram, my posts get more reach. I don't know why that is. It might just be like if people see my name pop up, I'm like top of mind. So that way they'll see my post more. But in terms of like algorithm, I don't know exactly how that works. But the other hand also is like mindset wise, don't be so attached to your numbers, right? I am so unattached when it comes to numbers on social media. Like I look at it more as just like data collection. Like, oh, what happened with my post today? Oh, this didn't work. Great. Like I'm not going to do that again. Or what can I change? Oh, this worked. Let me look at why this worked and create, more posts like this. So, you want to be really unattached, especially if you are in a stage where you're just like starting, you're growing, or even if you are scaling, because sometimes I see big creators and big businesses start to get like, stagnant when it comes to engagement. And then they're like, oh my gosh, like nothing's working. And then that's where it's like they kind of like spiral down. So look at it in terms of data collection because it's really going to help you look at patterns to help you get more reach. But, don't be married to your numbers.
Oh,
What you're
about
muted.
what are your thoughts on the trends, like trending sounds, trending hashtags? Like, is that important for reach and for building an audience?
Yes, great question. Trends, yes, that does help you with reach. Now, what I recommend doing is when people see trends, this is immediately what they want to do is like, let me do exactly what they did, right? Let me copy because since that video worked, let me do the same thing. And then, of course, it doesn't work as well as the viral video. What I recommend doing is use like the trend framework and create original video out of it. So if it is a trending audio, use the audio in the background of a video that has like, of course, good copy, good context, good story. If it's more of like, I don't know, like a dance or movement type of trend, do the same thing, but once again, original content. Like don't do the exact same thing the viral creator did because it's not going to work for you. So it does work, but once again, I don't recommend building your profile through trends. And there's a difference between using them to help you versus building with them, because like the last thing that you want to do is have a profile that is built through just like entertainment, but people don't actually like know who you are. And I'm on TikTok, I'm growing on there, and I've seen this happen to a lot of creators where they grew just through trends, but then like their audience doesn't even care about them and they're unable to actually monetize and bring in sales. So yeah, that's my answer. Like, yes, use them, but only in terms of like the framework, not the actual like copy and paste of the viral video.
Yeah, and I really appreciate that because we want to like obviously build, but we want to build an audience of people who want to become clients of ours, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So what about like when you get a new follower, do you reach out to them right away? Like how do you engage with your followers to build that community?
Yeah, so I used to do this before I have before I had a really big following. I would just like openly connect and be like, "Hey, thanks for the follow, like great to connect." And sometimes I would be like, you know, what resonated with you or like what did you like about my post? But I did that like the first 6 to 12 months in like my business. Like that's where I'm like, okay, let me actually connect with my followers, but it didn't come from a place of let me do this to sell my products to them. And that's a very, very big difference. People will teach you this strategy of like connect with everybody so that way you can make a sale. Don't do it if that's your intention. Like I recommend not doing it if that's your intention behind it. I recommend just growing without even sending a message because yes, you absolutely can do it that way. Because for me, also the way that I look at Instagram is when you get to a point where you do have so many people following you, it's hard to keep up and connect with people. That's where people will go to your stories. So on my stories, I'm not talking like at my audience, I'm talking to them. So it literally feels like they're on FaceTime with me, right? It's not like as curated as my feed. And it's much more personal. So it's easier for people to like reach out to me through stories. Like this morning, I was wearing this sweater and someone's like, oh my gosh, so cute. And I'm like, oh, thanks. Like it's so comfy. Like that has nothing to do with my business, but it also has everything to do with my business because it connects my audience with just me as a person. So that's something like, yes, you can do, but once again, the intention behind it has to be genuine. And yeah, like that's also like if people start to follow you and they're in your niche, they're kind of your peers, great way to go do a live together, collaborate. So I think it's good, but once again, it just depends on the context.
Yeah. And then I guess to that, I feel like what the answer that you just gave me is pretty like an answer for this, but like when you were growing, what about engaging like with your followers? Like the one, not just like that follow, thanks for follow message, but continuously engaging with their posts and things.
Yeah, yeah. So definitely stories, of course. Like this is also where I want to say is like you don't have to be on stories 24/7 either. I think like sometimes when people hear me say like post on stories, have at least 5 stories up, like I'm not on Instagram 24/7. Like it takes me 10 seconds to post a story. Then the rest of the day, like I'm not even on the app. And then sometimes on the weekends, like I don't show up as much. But in terms of connection, like there's different things that I have done over the course of like, the years of me being in business on Instagram that have made my stories and my posts more interactive. So of course on stories you can use like polls and questions and you can do like Q&As and that really helps you interact with your audience. At least I want to say like maybe twice a month I'll just do like a ask me anything. They can ask me any question and then I'll respond on stories and I'll do that all day and people absolutely love it. Sometimes like I like to do really fun things. Sometimes I'll do like would you rather, right? And then on my stories I'll be like, would you rather be like I don't know, like posting on social 24/7 or have an evergreen funnel that makes you $1 million? Like it's things that are fun and interactive. Sometimes I'll do it strategically if I'm trying to get like market research on what people are needing help with. And then sometimes I'll do it for fun. So you can incorporate that where you're engaging with your audience. You're still like, getting data from them, but at the same time, you're interacting with them. And then, of course, live video, that's another great way to interact with your audience, because when you are live with somebody and you see followers coming in, what I love to do is I love to call out their name. I'm like, hey, Kate. Hey, Amber. Hey, Nell. Like, how are you doing? Like, I noticed you were doing this thing and this thing. And I love to speak to them because it makes it feel like I'm actually having a conversation with them, not just a conversation on my phone. So that has helped so much. I run a weekly live show that I do in my Facebook group community. And I do that with every single person that jumps on. And I have seen people are now much more comfortable just sending me a message on Instagram. I'm like, oh, it actually works. So those are a few things that I do to keep my community just tight knit and really engage with them.
I love those tips. What should coaches stop doing right now on Instagram?
Oh, so many things pop up to mind. stop just sharing the 3 tips to do X. Now, this is going to be controversial because value and education always works. However, you can Google that on, like, you can find that information on Google. So instead of telling someone how to do something, show through experience. So for an example, if you're teaching someone how to lose weight and you're saying, like, these are the top 3 exercises you should do to lose weight, but still eat your favorite food. Like, some people might think that's good. I think it's okay. But the way that you can make it better is, this is how I was able to go to the beach, not wrap myself in a towel, and still like go to the gym every single day, or and still not like, and not be judged by people who might be staring at me as I walk into the ocean. Like, you're actually sharing through experience. And what I say, I made a post about this, you're quote unquote selling the scenario, not the solution. People know the solution to lose weight. What is the scenario? What is the actual story? People know they want to lose weight. They know they want to be more confident. They know they still want to eat their favorite food. How does that actually materialize in their life? Like, what is the real life scenario that happens? And that will help you get more, once again, reach, get more followers, and get more buyers. So that's a big mistake that I see people doing. It's still like way too generic content. And then, the other thing that I see people doing is they're not consistent. Yeah, that's another big one. They're not consistent enough on Instagram. Like, what I started this like interview, this live with, was I treat it like my own reality TV show. Now, once again, it does not mean you have to be on there 24/7, 7 days a week, but you need to have a relationship with Instagram where it feels organic and natural for you to share. If once again, you're going on there with the intention of, I'm just trying to sell you something, and the intention of only building a business, I believe it is going to be harder for you to grow and scale. For me personally, like, when I look at businesses, yes, people build a business to make money. Of course, if you're not making money, it's not a business. But at the same time, 99.9% of all of you who started a business was because of a purpose and vision first versus making money. Now, this is like, once again, it's relative on who you are and what you do. But when you can bring the heart back to what you do, it's going to become so much easier for you to share and so much easier for you to scale, because every single successful business owner, successful coach that I have seen, like you can feel there's heart into their content, there's heart into their offers, there's heart into their product. It is not just a curated post that their VA came up with on Canva. And you guys know the difference when I say that. So those are a few things that I would just look out for, right? And by all means, like, of course, this isn't going to happen overnight. It comes through like with practice. But every day, it's like, take that one step every single day. And over time, you'll get to a point where Instagram posting on there, showing up, it just flows for you.
And speaking of getting into that habit and that routine and just getting the reps in, you teach this. Tell us about this membership that you have, because it's so fantastic.
Oh my gosh, I am obsessed with this membership. This was a vision that I had, honestly, about a year ago, because I saw the industry shifting about a year ago, where people were no longer buying just to buy, even like wins. Like, I literally have a post going out today that says, nobody cares that you had a $10,000 day. What they care about is the story, the vision, the philosophy, the why. Like, why does that even matter? So for me, I had this entire like full body experience, this full body feeling about 6 months ago, where I saw so many creators, business owners, even at 6 figures, multi 6 figures, 7 figures, people that are just starting, who they are trying to find the shiny secret key in order to scale. I have spent well over 6 figures, have talked to millionaires, billionaires on like, what's the key to success? And every single time they say it's the consistent basic actions. So I'm like, oh my goodness, even me, I got to a point in my business, multi 6 figures, thousands of followers, have done so much in my career. And it came down to doing the basic actions that scale. So my membership, Monetize Social membership, this is a place for creators, entrepreneurs, online coaches who want to know the correct actions to take every single day to grow their social media and sign on clients. And the way that I structured this membership is you get access to daily and weekly action plans. And every single month, there's a new theme. So it's not a membership where you get like old resources or information. It's new content I'm sharing every single week. And every month, there's a different theme based on your business. So this month, it's all about money mindset. Next month's going to be about content. Things I'm bringing in is like media features and business models and offers, like basically everything that you need to build and scale your business. So that's like where my heart is right now. And that is where, you can join and connect with me.
And okay, so last question, where can people find, follow, and connect with you, Sabah?
Yes, of course, Instagram. So my handle is at the Sabah Ali. So feel free to connect with me, send me a message on there, tap on my stories. I am on there, but that's the best place to connect with me.
Awesome. Awesome. And Sabah is in our group as well. So for those
Yes.
of you who weren't able to watch live and are catching the replay, and you're having breakthrough moments and you have additional questions, type them here in the comments and tag Sabah so that she
Yes.
can answer them for you and she can help you get connected and monetizing your Instagram.
Yeah.
Girl, thank you so much for being here. I
Of
so
course.
appreciate you.
This is so much
Awesome.
fun. Thank you so much for having me.
My pleasure. And coaches, get to growing because there's lots of people for you to help. So make it happen. All right, guys. See you later. Bye.
Bye.